Hey guys, welcome back to the Story Crafters. My name is Jeff, and right over here we have Jared, World's Okayest Crafter. Down below me we have Nicole, Game Master Moms, and directly below me right there we have Charlie, the Ink GM LLC. Super awesome. Super happy you guys are here to join us for episode 2. This episode is entitled Session 0, and you'll see why. Guys, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and, as usual, we're going to roll initiative. Let's do it.
Yes.
And like last week, I rolled a 3.
Dang it. I got a 3 too.
All right.
Ooh,
Double digits. I got a 10.
nice.
Yes.
I got an 18 this time, but I think you guys are going to have
Whoa.
to do rollies until we get our official
Okay.
stats
Yep.
for
All right.
dexterity check.
Let's go ahead and roll.
Rolling. Ooh.
I rolled a 6. What'd you roll?
20.
20. Dang.
20, yes. That's what I'm talking about.
First nat 20 of the
There you
show.
All right. Well, I guess this is oddly appropriate that I'm going to go first. So basically, what I've done over the past week is I've done a lot of painting. I have had this model on my shelf. It's definitely not a particular Warhammer demon god, and it is definitely not it. That my dungeon master printed for me about a year ago, and I was like, dude, this thing is sweet, but I am not nearly prepared to paint such an epic model. Well, I started painting it this week. And if you check my Instagram, you'll see some of the pictures of him. He's this huge, like, demon-looking thing that's got this, like, huge wings and this awesome sword, and it's, like, I didn't know how I was going to tackle it. But I did, and with some help of speed paint, because that's awesome, the army painter not provided, but I bought some speed paint, and that technique of, if you've ever tried speed paint plus, which is where you take speed paint and you use that as your base coat, right? So you get your shade, your highlight, well, a sort of highlight, but it sets the tone for what your, like, where your light sources need to be, which is super cool. So I did that, and then took some Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl and have been highlighting up over top of it to make this super awesome, definitely not a Warhammer model, but it totally is. And
It looks fantastic.
it is super cool, and I can't wait to see what my friend is going to do with it, because he's just like, yo, when are you going to give that back to me? And I was like, dude, when it's worthy of giving it back. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, oh, man. I just want to continue the hilt. That's going to be my project tonight, is working on the hilt of the sword. But I got an airbrush too. And that's kind of been a massive game changer. From like traditional brush painting, my priming has gotten so smooth, and it's made a world of difference, surprisingly.
I feel like that's the natural progression that everybody eventually arrives to.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, but it'd be great.
Yeah,
Same.
Be there.
it was...
Excited for
jealous.
that day when it does come.
Yeah, it was it was interesting. I got it on Amazon. It's not a Badger or anything like that. It's just some off-brand. I think it's like $80, something like that. It's nothing too bad. But
Yes.
it made doing the wings a little bit easier, because there's some like fleshy parts on the wings that I was like, I don't want to just like get in there. And yeah, so that's kind of
Okay, so
been what I've been
like
up to.
linked in the show notes, we need pictures of the creation,
Yeah.
and we need your recommendation for affordable airbrush.
Yeah, we can definitely. I'll put that in the link below in the description here for that airbrush that I bought. It's on Amazon, nothing crazy. And then, yeah, if you follow our links in the description here, it'll link you to all of our socials, which you can see some beautifully terrible pictures that I took of the model. But yeah, that's kind of been what I've been up to. Work is a lot right now because it's the Christmas time and working at a university. You know, we do a lot of Christmassy stuff, so that's kind of that's kind of been what I've been up to this week. Jared, I think you're next. What have you been up to?
I think Nicole's next, if memory. So I rolled a big old 10. So
Yeah, she rolled a 20.
Are you? Oh, that's yeah. Well, see, there you go. I'm just trying to avoid the inevitable, I guess. So,
I was it 20 to decide the difference between you two?
That's right. Yep, you're right. So Nicole, you're up.
Oh, okay. I'm up. All right. I was not expecting to go now. Okay. What we've been up to.
Yeah.
Yes. So what I have been up to over the last week or so, there's kind of a D&D life and a regular life update for me. Regular life is that this past week was my daughter's 5th birthday. So we had a little trip to a local water park, and we did a birthday party with all her school friends and cousins. So that took up most of my brain space this week.
Yes.
Most of my time planning the 5-year-old birthday party. I always let her pick her theme, and this year the theme she wanted was cats and Taylor Swift. So we had a cat Swiftie party yesterday, which I'm still recovering from, but it was so fun. D&D type life. Mostly this week I've been working with my illustrator for my first children's fantasy book that's going to be coming out next year. My illustrator's name is Daniel. He's the drawing bard. I always say that wrong. The drawing bard, no spaces, on all kinds of social media, mostly Instagram. But we've been going back and forth on the final color proofs of the pages of the book. And it's so exciting to see the characters in the world come to life in full color, the way it's going to end up in the storybook.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, great week all around.
That's so awesome that you're doing that. I'm super excited to see what that is all going to look like for you. It's been really fun watching the progression of just like, oh, I'm doing this, and then from the evolution of like all the Instagram polls and like, what do you guys want? Like, and then the competition of all the characters getting involved. It's been so cool, and yeah, we'll definitely have a lot to say about your book coming up soon. So
very excited about it. I'm also awesome. A little bit jealous, as there is snow on the ground outside where I live, that you went to a water park.
It's true.
Indoor water park.
Right.
But right. Yeah.
I'll let it slide then.
I want snow.
Here in Texas, we're still experiencing summery fall, so
I want snow. That'd be cool.
Must be nice. So I haven't played D&D in a couple weeks. As Jeff says often, the BBEG is scheduling.
Yes.
It's the holiday season and life is chaos. I have a group of 6 players that I DM for, and we're all, adults with jobs and kids and everything. So it's always a challenge to get together. But the last time I played D&D, which was a couple weeks ago, my brother actually ran the session, and we did a Hot Ones challenge while we played D&D.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm not a spicy food person. It's, listen, yeah, it's a blast. It's so much fun. But my word, is it awful. Just truly awful. This is the second one we've done.
Does that count as just like a constitution saving throw or a survival check?
It got to the point that I would have loved to succeed on anything. So
followed swiftly by a medicine check.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly right. First time we did it, we of course, were on theme and we were fighting monsters in Avernus. It was great. It's definitely worth trying. It is not representative of anything what D&D actually is, though. Because it is just chaos.
Wait, did you play D&D with
great,
the Hot Ones challenge as part of the game?
Exactly right. We 10 Wings We had a wing at like initiative order 20 and then initiative order 10. So you're like fighting, you're trying to like be cognizant and fight things as you're actively fighting for your life.
It was great.
I have just
Sean Evans,
awesome.
if you're listening, we would love to come on the show and do a version of this Hot Ones one-shot challenge.
Yes.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds
I will
incredible.
Say,
if you roll a nat 1, do you have to do a dab of the bomb?
Oh my gosh. I wish it would have been the bomb, because I think that would have been better than some that I was forced to eat. But it was great. It was great. Beyond that, I mean, I'm prepping for my next session. I DM a homebrew world. My players are all pirates. And they are finally, after a long stint on land, I think, preparing to actually set sail again, which I'm very excited for. But beyond that, that's been my week, just ramping up for the holidays and, everything that chaos, ensues along with that. So
I'm going to kind of interject here real quick, because I do want to ask you, being session 0, we're still all getting to know each other. What have you been crafting lately? Because we talked about Nicole's book a little bit. What have you been crafting? Because I know you do some commission work too. So
I do, and in fact, most of what I have been doing lately is commission work. I just sent some out. That's other pieces behind me. I don't know if you can see it. Doesn't look like much right there. That is
I'm gonna do a quick edit real quick. There's your internet cut off there, so I'm gonna do a quick edit here.
Oh, so sorry.
You're good. So you do some commission work here. I'm going to kind of interject real quick. What have you done commission-wise lately that people can kind of look into to see kind of like what you do from a crafting side of things?
Yeah, thanks. Most of what I have been doing lately has been commissions, which is a great problem to have. I've been very busy with all of it, so a lot of my personal projects have kind of been pushed to the side, but I can't complain about that. I've been doing a lot of basic terrain, like a lot of stackers. The latest one I did was just all stone, both like 1-inch and 2-inch foam, which was kind of cool. And funnily enough, is not something I even have in my personal collection yet.
Oh.
So it's on my list of things to make for myself one of these days. But back behind me, can't really see it, is a snowy temple that I'm making for somebody, and actually a terrain swap. That they are making something for me. I'm making this, and we're gonna swap, which is pretty exciting.
That is awesome.
So that's so cool. Slowly chugging along on that.
I love that.
Working on for months for myself. That an airbrush would honestly be great for, Jeff, because I think they're crafted, and I'm just staring down the barrel of, I don't want to prime these black. So an airbrush would be great, but
yeah, as a painter, that like
a spray can,
spray paint primer, spray paint. Spray paint, that'll make a good little gift.
I feel like that's got to be a reoccurring sound that's just played over whenever any of us stumble over our words. That just needs to be the
we'll put
sound.
that in the soundboard.
Anytime my big bad at the table rolls a nat 1, I'm gonna have you show up at the table and go blah, blah, blah. And the big bad goes all over the map.
I as much as I love painting, I hate painting terrain. Oh my gosh, it's my least favorite thing ever. So the airbrush has been very nice. I can't wait to see what these are gonna look like. I love seeing your stuff, and it definitely inspires me in my builds. I definitely have at least like 5 or 6 screenshots of your builds on my phone, so I'd be like, wait, what did he do?
I appreciate it. I'm still in the camp that I truly have no idea what I'm doing. I just kind of roll with it and see what happens.
I'm still getting all my basic things. I need to build stackers. I need to Jeremy at Black Magic Craft did those like 3-inch, like you do like a stepping stone type thing where it's like a step up and then then you can like stack them all together, and you make so much stuff. It's like, man, that's genius.
Very modular.
So I got to do that too.
The list goes ever on.
Yeah, man. Charlie, I think that brings us down to you, man. What have you been up to this week?
Oh gosh. Yeah, it's been busy, but it's been pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Can't complain, that's for sure. But a few shout outs throughout this because just have to. They're wonderful people. My wife and I, we did get to finally open up our boxes from Jumping Jack's Tavern. It's this wonderful, wonderful small business that is up in, I believe, Brooklyn, by owners Kat and Michaela, wonderful people. The idea is creating these starter equipment boxes for different classes. So they reached out to us and said, hey, what classes would you guys like to, open up? And if you could give us a review. And we said, yeah. So naturally we went with our favorites. I chose Paladin. My wife chose Druid. And we finally got to film that. And so until we just had the boxes sitting there. We're like, what is in these? We're so excited. So that was a ton of fun. And it was a ton of great stuff. I was really, really surprised. We've been burning the candles and I've been smelling the sample that's in there. That smells absolutely fantastic. But we got to do that. And Dungeon Drip was working with them on another t-shirt design, and we finally got to drop it this week, which was a lot of fun. The hilarious and infamous BDE Big Dragon Energy t-shirt. Very excited for that. Which I will say, a testament to that design. I normally wear black. Any t-shirt, or button up. It's usually black, and that design in all white, I was like, I actually will rock that. But normally I'll probably wear it to the games that I DM every week. So with that, I never drink anything but water, and I don't eat during my games. So I'm like, there's no way I can ruin it, right? It'll happen, of course. But
there's
at least I feel optimistic about it. Yeah.
If there's a way, there's a way.
I got to do a... Yeah.
It sounds like the perfect shirt to eat hot wings in.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That is your dexterity saving throw with every bite. Does it get on the shirt?
Yes. Oh, man.
And the DC, unfortunately, is very high to not get it on the shirt.
DC 35.
But, yes. Yeah, I got to do, I had my regular D&D campaigns, as well as just a little bit over a week and a half ago, I had a private game that I got to do all through Rogue Game Masters, which has just been a ton of fun. My campaigns, though, this week, the sessions were wildly different between the groups. I had one group that reluctantly murdered an orphan. That happened. And then I had another group that literally was in tears over being boarded by pirates that are part of their pirate syndicate, and they actually got ousted by the pirates. And they were pretty upset. I had people crying at the table. It was an intense session, but
That's intense.
yeah. And I do want to specify, my players they felt that it was the right choice to do in that other session with the orphan, but they were very reluctant. They were all kind of passing the buck to each other, being like, hey, I know you really were upset about that. Do you want to be some friends? He claims to be a very notorious rogue and, an effortless killer. So perhaps you should do it. It would be better for you. And they're like, oh, but I don't want to take it away from you. That part of it was pretty funny. Nobody wanted to do it. And the entire time I'm thinking, you guys don't have to. Like, no one is forcing you to do this. I've run very sandbox-like campaigns, and yet, for whatever reason, they really felt compelled that needed to happen. And I was like, okay.
I mean,
so
you never know.
Interesting.
Yeah. That
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. I will say, though, what I am personally looking forward to is this week I did manage to score a ton of Black Friday deals on various minis that I am so excited. It's been a while since, probably about a month and a half since I've been able to paint a mini and have the time to do so between everything D&D and, life and my own 9 to 5. So I'm very excited. I have a a dozen different minis coming in the mail in the next week or two. And I'm looking at 7 of them that are sitting on here that I got from my local game store on Black Friday, that are on my desk, and I'm itching and ready to go. So,
yeah,
it's been my week.
Did you take advantage of
Love that new
WizKids
minis
Black Sale?
feeling.
Yes, absolutely, Nicole. Jeff, what'd you say?
I said, did you take advantage of WizKids Black Friday sale?
Oh, 100%. They had a bunch of ding and dent boxes that were up there.
Really?
I perused there. I would like to we should do a whole bonus episode on just like tips and tricks and things to look out for. I frequently go on WizKids site, and they will have ding and dent boxes occasionally. And it was, I think 3 or 4 days ago on the site, is like their further Cyber Monday deals. They had a whole section of ding and dent boxes. So I got like 5 of the paint night kits for 50% off each.
Okay.
And so, you know, you get the paint, you get the brushes, and you get the mini. So really, you're paying for the price for the mini, and you get the paint and the brushes as extra. But then on top of that, because I got 5, so they were all $10 each with the sale. I also got a promotional. They're sending their WizKids Frosty Snowman Monster Mini, which I'm excited for. It looks gnarly. I'm excited to see that.
Look gnarly.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So every so often I just go on there and I look for those kind of deals, and you save up, and you do spend $50. So usually you get some kind of bonus that they do. So it's a good way to score some extra stuff, extra loot.
Yeah, that's great to know. So I was going to ask.
I'm like trying to not go to the site right now. That's what I'm trying to do.
I
don't blame you.
I'm like, okay, pull up
pulled it
that tab
and I
for
went,
later.
Nope.
I think honestly, since I'll just take us a little bit off track on this subject one more.
That's okay.
The best deal I ever did on WizKids was they had a promotion where it was you spend $50 and you get the hex lock set, one of their hex lock sets.
Oh yeah.
And so I did that, and then it was something about if you bought a mini, then you also got one of their like exclusive. It's like an elf druid mini holding like a cardinal. So I managed to get a few things off the site and get the hex lock for free, which is normally $50, and got that extra mini for free. And that was a great deal. That was a good.
That's awesome.
So.
Man, that's awesome.
That's super cool.
So I was going to ask Charlie.
Forever. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. Forgive me. I forgot the company's name that sent you the boxes, the class of boxes.
Jumping Jack's Tavern.
Jumping Jack's Tavern. So is that all like products that they make themselves, or did they gather it from other companies and send it?
Great question.
Pictures. It looks fantastic.
I should have mentioned that because that was one of the reasons that my wife and I were so excited about the boxes, and we asked to be tavern keepers with them to help promote their boxes and provide a discount code because we really loved it so much, and the fact that the boxes, they source everything locally to them in upstate New York, and it's all local small businesses and artists. So it's awesome. Literally a local person that handcrafts these perfume selections to the theme, to the class, right? And same thing, the candles, they're like wood wick, and it's from a guy up there that makes these, and super, super cool. But yeah, it's all local. And then on top of that, they give a portion of each sale of the boxes to I can't remember which one, but it is a 501c3 charity for that benefits the LGBTQIA plus community. Cool. So
that's fantastic.
Everything about it is just awesome, from presentation to Kat and Michaela's enthusiasm and how they present the boxes and everything that's in it. And then on top of that, knowing that you're helping support local businesses and artists, and a portion is going to charity. I mean,
hard to go wrong.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at it and I was like, some of these things, for me, who's been in D&D for a long time, I have some of these things. But the idea of like I was thinking about it. I was like, how cool would it be to get one of these boxes? You know, if you got this as a gift for a new campaign that you're starting for your character that you picked. And I was like, that would be so cool to show up to the table with, you know, the themed and colored dice tray and the dice set, and, you know, having the candle and just everything.
You can
It's
never
really cool.
have too many D&D things. It's at least
It's
what
true.
I tell myself to justify purchases. But
Yeah. Yeah, that's super cool. I love all of that. Man, that's just super cool. I love everything that just happened there. That everyone is in it and also doing life as well, which is super cool because while we do love D&D, life is also super important. And I love just seeing my friends succeeding and doing cool things in life. It's always fun. So that was our past week, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into our first little bit of this podcast. It's going to kind of go from this episode onward. And for those listening and for those tuning in, what we're about to do is we're going to roll stats for ourselves as characters. And we're going to take these characters then, and we're going to use them in one-shots, future campaigns, something else that just kind of tailors the listening experience, our playthrough experience, and your guys' enjoyment of the show a little bit more personal, because we have to make the decisions of these stats based off of us, not heroes. Which I think every single one of these people in here are heroes, but we got to roll them as peasants and how we particularly see ourselves. So, a little narcissistic, but we'll get past it.
But I do see myself as a peasant, so I appreciate that out and a claim to fame as a hero that I am very humbled.
Man, I think you all are heroes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start rolling some stats here, guys. So here we go. We're going to roll our stats. Let's go ahead and let's do this. So it'll be fun. And we are using D&D Beyond for this. So for those curious, we're not, just throwing willy-nilly, and we are all dungeon masters, and we respect the rule of the dice be what the dice be. There's no re-rolling. There's no nothing there. What happens right now is what we get from here on going forward. So, here we go!
No pressure, right? No pressure.
So, 4d6, drop the lowest.
My first is a 16 out the gate.
Hey.
Okay, well, we add them together, right?
Yep,
So
and then you drop the lowest.
Drop the lowest. All right.
Unless you really want the lowest, in which case,
Yeah, if you really want to, I guess you could.
Guys,
Drop
I do
whichever
feel
one you
bad.
want.
I'm the only one not on camera right now, and yet I just rolled another 16.
Oh man.
Okay, but law of averages, I just got a 7.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Law of averages, I got a 7.
I'm trying to math, y'all. I'm trying to math.
all I'm saying is, so far, so good.
I know.
I just got a 14.
4
That's
out of my
fair.
6, and I'm doing well. Oh, I say that as I just roll a 6, like totally.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
damn,
sir.
me too.
You know what?
Just doing
I
so
rolled pretty well, which is not going to be representative of me as a person at all, because I'm going to be way more skilled than I am in real life.
I got mine.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
All right.
All right, we're looking for 6 numbers, right?
Yep, 6 numbers.
Yes.
6. Okay. Okay, so Charlie's luck is rubbing off.
Hey.
Right.
All right. So is everybody applying to their relative scores at this point?
Yep.
That's what I was going to ask. Do we go ahead and
I am
punch him in?
I haven't started yet.
I am set.
All right. So what everybody get?
Well, we'll let the initiative who actually I rolled the lowest on the initiative, so I'm gonna go first because that's how our system works. Because I rolled a 6 or a 3 or something. I think I rolled a 3 again. My stats here that I have, I rolled pretty well actually. So a 12, a 16, an 11, a 13, a 6, and a 16. So for my class, I am choosing to multi-class. We are starting at level 2 for those listening. Because level 1 is a little too squishy. 3, you get a little bit more extra things, and I think 2 is just a really good start to spot. We'll keep going. As a cleric, I'm choosing to multi-class as a cleric and a warlock. Given that I do work for a religious university. However, I also do thoroughly enjoy the darker side of things. And so that's why I'm doing a cleric and a warlock. My stats as follows. For me personally, I put strength as a 16. I went with a 13 for my constitution. Wisdom, a 12. I've always been told I'm wiser than I am smart. Thus is why my intelligence is a 6. My dex is also a 16, and my charisma is 11. And that is Jeff Rogers Gaming for the Cleric Warlock. Human, of course.
There you go.
That's
I
solid.
would be a dwarf, but I'm almost 6 foot, so I'm not quite a dwarf. So, but they are my favorite race. So, Nicole, I believe you're next.
Okay. I'm not ready, guys.
It's all good. I'm still trying to assign numbers to things.
Yeah, I'm trying to assign too.
Again, the numbers I rolled just feel very haughty compared to me in reality. So
I think you are all 18s to 20s easily in every single stat.
Okay, I will just tell you, I don't have a stat low enough for my dexterity. So
Oh, goodness. Okay. If somebody else wants to go while I'm doing this, you can, but otherwise, if y'all just want to wait on me, I'll be done in a minute.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we can literally edit this out. Yeah, it's all good.
Go ahead, Charlie, if you're ready.
Sure. So I'm going with a paladin through and through. Very much have always, with my life growing up, not the best origin story necessarily, and so I always felt a sense of justice to make sure other people are seen and heard and don't have to go through what I went through. But at the same time, also with ADHD, very much feel that sense of justice, of like, if it's something wrong, I got to speak up, can't let bullies be ruling the world here.
Yeah.
So with that, went with a paladin. Put a 13 in strength. Have no claim to fame with MMA.
No fame.
Did do need to put it in there for strength as a paladin. Went with my 7. I put in dexterity because I'm clumsy. I've got the scars to prove it. With that, because I've got the scars, Constitution is the 16. And I say that one of the funniest stories was a couple of years ago, I went to the ER for appendicitis, and they did a CT scan to confirm it, and they said, are you aware that you also have a small hernia? And I said, no. And they're like, really? You didn't feel the pain or anything? And I'm like, no. So that's why I'll give my 2 highest numbers to Constitution as well as a paladin to Charisma, 16 for there. Intelligence is a 10, but with my +2 for as a human, bumps it up to a 12. Classic. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just get lucky. Not that I'm actually that smart. And wisdom is a 12. Again, all my crazy antics and life stories do give me some good anecdotes to be able to share. Hopefully, some pieces of wisdom of what not to do. So
I can attest to that one. Oh man, those are great. I love that. I love this as a as creating characters, it's so much fun because everyone always kind of like you have that character in your head and you're like, I want to make it like this, and then you're like, wait, I have to make me as a D&D character.
Yes.
What would that look like? And this is so cool.
D&D, I find, is basically just a giant social experiment,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I like being the DM, because I can always make it focus on literally everyone else's problem.
Yes.
You can't do that in this exercise.
Yeah. I had someone tell me probably about 2 years ago. They're like, Jeff, do you play D&D to like escape from reality? I was like, yes, of course. Who doesn't do that? Like, that's why you do it. Like, yeah. Like, yeah, of course I do.
Is there another reason?
He's like, yes, like, if it's fun with your friends and stuff. I was like, no, I really want to play as a dwarf. Like, I want to be Cargrim in this situation for the next 3 hours. Like, I do not want to be on Earth.
100%.
Nicole, I can go ahead unless you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to find something.
All right, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna play as a ranger.
Nice.
Because I enjoy being outdoors, though I am, a sweaty basement nerd who plays D&D often. There wasn't a subclass for couch potato as a ranger, unfortunately, which I looked for. But I'm going to go with ranger. And again, maybe not indicative of me as a person, but because I'm a ranger, my wisdom is going to be, I rolled a 17 plus 1 as a human will be at 18. My dexterity is going to be at a 16, which, I can touch my toes. I just kind of make like a bad noise when I, have to do so. But, we'll move past that.
That has to be.
Constitution's right. Constitution is going to be at a 14. Because, it can be that I have Constitution assigned to 2 things. What did I miss? Charisma. There we go. That is
indeed
that one
what I'm
missing.
The other C in D&D.
The other C in D&D. So charisma, that's going to be, I rolled a 13 as a human plus 1. So that'll sit at a 14. My strength is an 11. Probably true. I'm a dad. I don't do much. And my intelligence is at a 10. So average. That's just average intelligence. So
love it.
I will say, though, as a dad, there is a number of, I think it was back when Vine was a thing. There was a dad strength and dad dexterity of like dads like saving their kids from harm in the last second. And yeah, man. So
Charlie,
you could totally flavor. I do not.
Okay, I did.
I do have a 13-year-old. I do have a 13-year-old puppy who some days acts like an old man and some days acts like a puppy.
Yeah. That's awesome. Man.
Yeah, Jared, do you have any of those moments of like you just like reflexively like caught the kid before they fell off the couch or something? Do you have the dad dex?
A few times it's happened. My kids are old enough now. They're 8 and 9.
Oh, geez.
So it's not as prevalent now, but there's definitely still been a few moments of don't want to think through what that might have been.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man. I love it.
All right, I think that leaves into Nicole here. So you got your stats ready?
I'm the final holdout. I think I have my stats ready. So I am going to petition to be the only non-human because although biologically I am human, I would really like to claim half elf.
Love it.
So if y'all will allow it, I'm going to take the ability score modifiers for half elf instead of human.
And for those who are
I think you've committed enough to it.
Yeah, for those who are listening, Nicole is literally cosplaying as an elf right now, and she is killing it. It looks awesome. So a little incentive for you guys to go watch our YouTube channel. Back to you, Nicole.
This is part of my shtick is I run with it. I'm committed to it at this point, so I might as well get the bonus stats for it.
Yes, I love it. All right.
Hey,
is with your
at the
stats.
end of the day, right? We're all game masters, and we know that you can choose. You don't have to go with the rules, right? If it rule it cool, if it works for your table, go for it.
Absolutely.
You don't have to stick
Exactly
with
right.
the same thing.
Absolutely.
So 100%.
Yep. All
Love
right.
it.
What are
Well,
your
thank you
stats?
guys for
Let's
letting
see.
me be full. Yeah, so my character, I'm going to do a multi-class bard and druid.
Cool.
That fits for me, not for the reasons you think, right? So, like, I'm not the kind of bard that can, like, sing and play music and all that, but I am an excellent storyteller, and I have very high charisma in real life. I can persuade people to do pretty much anything I want. And as a mom and a dungeon master, I have definitely honed the storytelling, entertaining craft.
Absolutely.
Y'all do not want to hear me sing, though. So there will not be singing happening.
We may have some performance.
Well,
checks in
again,
the-
there is always a way to flavor these things, right? Maybe as a bard, you use your singing not for good, right? But it's how you convince people. It's like, hey, look, either you give us the discount on the magic item, or I'm gonna sing until you do.
Yeah. There you go. See?
Your whatever that bard spell, the hurtful words or whatever, you basically insult them.
Yeah, vicious mockery.
Vicious mockery, that's the one. Vicious mockery is just you singing.
Yeah, it's just me actually singing. Yeah, for real. And the druid piece, I'm a hippie at heart, so I always have to have some druidy things going on. And fun fact about me, I've actually never played a character in D&D that's not a druid. That's the only class I've ever played. So
that's fun.
Fair enough.
It's a great class.
Know what you like, stick with it.
Right? I mean, there's just nothing better in my mind, so I'm going to stick with it for now. My stats, I feel like I rolled okay. So I gave myself, for a strength, I gave myself my lowest roll, which was a 6. That fits for me. I mean, I've got a little bit of mom strength in me, but really at the end of the day, I am not the one that you want doing those tasks. That's not me. I'll probably apply one of my +1s to that to make it a whopping 7. I think we're going to go with that. Dexterity, 10. Average. That's probably a little better than I deserve, but like I said, I rolled well. Constitution, 14.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean,
Okay.
I feel like I have some resilience in me, so maybe that fits. I definitely get
as a parent, I feel like the baseline of Constitution is higher than average. So
as a parent and a half
right. Like there's something about being like fit on and climbed on and all other kinds of things that we probably shouldn't talk about that happen. It just
yeah.
Parent life right there. So intelligence, 13.
Okay.
Wisdom, I think I'm going to go with 15. I'm going to add my other +1 there, so I'm going to 14, but I'm going to say 15 for wisdom and 18 for charisma with my best roll of 16 and my +2 from being a half elf. So
yes, love it.
That's where we're sitting.
I
don't hate it.
I love it. That is fantastic. I love how all 4, because I'm included in this, all 4 of these characters, it's so cool to be like, you're playing yourself it's kind of interesting. Now, I'm not saying that's how we're going to make decisions, of course, but definitely the dice will follow our personality. That's for sure.
Yes.
So yeah, going forward, these are the characters that you're going to see in our one-shots, in maybe future campaigns. Who knows? We are kind of doing this as we go. And that's kind of a disclaimer, too, for everyone listening or watching, paying attention, caring, is we're doing this, just the 4 of us. But if you guys who are listening think that, oh, this could be kind of cool, let us know. Like, we would love to actually adopt and change this show, because it's supposed to be something that's fun for everybody. And if you think something is cool, let us know. We have our stats now. We have our characters. Let's go ahead and we're going to jump into our lore section of this episode here. And we're going to have a little lore section in each of our episodes. giving you a little tidbit of information about the official Dungeons and Dragons lore, because I feel like not many people know it. They know their homebrew world, or they know their dungeon master's world that just happens to be set in a particular spot of D&D, especially if you're running a pre-written campaign. You know, you may be in Phandalin, and that's all you know. You don't know about Baldur's Gate, you know. So who knows? And our dear Charlie here is going to take that over. So we're going to chime in there with Charlie. We'll see you in a second. All right, guys, welcome back. We are going to jump into our lore section here. Charlie, go ahead, take it away. What do you got for us, man?
Yeah, so as we all know, D&D has been around for now over 50 years. So there is a ton of D&D lore, and as any true, tried and true game master will tell you, that there is of places for you to pull inspiration, but there's also 50 years of D&D. As somebody who has not run an official D&D module as a one-shot or campaign, I still find a lot of it to be really inspirational for a lot of my homebrew settings and concepts and things like that. So because of that reason, there's a ton to go through, and things that kind of get forgotten about, or others that get glorified over others. But today's we're going to talk a little bit about Icewind Dale. So again, apologies up front. I am speaking from a place of ignorance, in the sense I've not run any official modules through these, so forgive me if there's anything I get wrong. But Icewind Dale is an Arctic tundra located in the Frozen Far region of the north, known for being the northernmost explored region in all of the Faerun, which is exciting. Everyone loves the Faerun. But an Arctic tundra environment, right? That is just cool off, no pun intended. Right off the bat. It is, you know, here in particular, Icewind Dale, it earned its name from the harsh winds and icy storms that destroyed buildings and scored the landscape. And I think that right there is a wonderful thing that D&D has done. And it's something I try to tell other aspiring GMs and whatnot when they run their campaigns and make homebrew stuff, is sometimes things don't have to be deeply complicated to be relevant, right? Icewind Dale, just because, well, harsh winds and icy storms. Yeah, I love it. But our infamous NPC Drizzt Doradin says, if I could choose what life would be mine, it would be this life that I now have at this time. I am at peace, and yet the world around me swirls with turmoil. The reality of existence here in Icewind Dale is harsh indeed, an environment unforgiving, where one mistake will cost you your life. And I think that just kind of sums it up really well. So I absolutely love that. Additionally, though, for those looking more for a CD description or some of the mechanics of it, Icewind Dale is a harsh, near uninhabitable land that regularly plunge below freezing temperatures. So mechanically, we're definitely looking at an environment where your players would need, right, some kind of item that gives them advantage or resistance to cold damage, right? Nights are especially long, and the region received little sunlight, particularly during the severe winter months. So this is definitely, you know, akin to real life, you know, what we have in some of our more northern and southern habitats of the Earth, right? Where it's just, there are some places that just don't get any sunlight for a while, no vitamin D, and that makes a harsh environment. But it was home to only the most hardened of frontiersmen, pioneers, and barbarians. Beyond the sporadic dots of civilization dwell terrifying beasts and deadly monsters of the north. Most folks traverse the Dale by means of dog sled or by foot with the use of snowshoes, yet some others prefer to ride atop axebeaks, a native creature to the region. Always a wonderful thing that adds a lot of flavor, right, to a region when you're having your players explore it, is not only items, right, but monsters and creatures, both hostile or friendly, that are exclusive and native to that region only. That always makes it a little bit extra special and harder to leave sometimes. Climate. So yeah, Icewind Dale experienced freezing temperatures for much of the year, while kinder summer months ranged from 11 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 12 degrees Celsius to 21 degrees Celsius. The temperature of the unforgiving winters dipped as low as minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 40 Celsius as well. So while snowfall was relentless, much of it blew east to the nearby Reghead Glacier. And that gives us some keyway into some geographical features. There are a number of lakes and bodies of water and a mountain range exclusive to Icewind Dale. And particularly what I found most interesting, though, when looking up about it, the geography where it's specifically located. Dale's located south and east of the Trackless Sea, north of the Sword Coast, and spine of the World Mountains. All, treacherous and varying landscapes, but still Icewind Dale stands out on its own. But on top of that, you have a wide ranging of flora and fauna. Icewind Dale was home to animals like small hares, Arctic foxes, reindeer, and elk. Things that your players at the table can easily grasp and relate to. But then we get some really interesting things like mammoths and saber-toothed tigers, snowy owl bears, a nice flavored twist. One of the things I love about the Pokemon franchise, shout out to them, is I love regional, concepts and changes, flavors of different things. And sometimes that is a great way to change things up at the table too. You don't have to, with whole new monsters, you can just put a little twist.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact of a snowy owl bear, I think, is really cool. But then you've also got things like white dragons and frost giants, and always scavenging gnolls and monstrous yetis. That is just a little bit about Icewind Dale and a few commentary from there, but I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts. And I just also want to give a shout out. All of that information is from the wonderful Forgotten Realms wiki, and a great place and resource that I frequent heavily for quick dives into something when I need to look into the history of various things and places, and a good place and a resource for that.
Out of all the lore in D&D, this one I'm actually vaguely familiar with. Icewind Dale was my first real experience as a player. I unfortunately never got to finish it. I probably got about a dozen sessions in. And as a player, when you're new to D&D, everything feels so magical and immersive, I feel like. And I still, now as a DM, strive to capture the feeling that I remember from that. Icewind Dale is, you just, it feels alive. The environment just feels so oppressive. All credit to my good friend, who's actually now one of the players at my table, who is DMing that. For presenting it in such a great way. But Icewind Dale, to me, again, having never been able to finish it, is the best. If you're looking for pre-written, it is the best setting, because it has everything from, it's kind of horror based. It's very, scary. You're always on edge. Like Charlie described, every decision you make, the weather's so severe and extreme that you really have to slow down and think through what you're doing. You don't just get to meander through the meadow. I think the pre-written adventure set there, it's always nighttime. The sun hasn't come up in years. And all the temperatures are in the negative, 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever. It's an awesome, awesome setting. I'm a big fan of it.
If I'm asking, did you guys, when you started that, do you recall, was it the D&D Essentials kit? Or was it just, something that your friend just picked up and liked and wanted to do?
No, it was the pre-written Icewind Dale, I think, Rime of the Frost Maiden.
Okay,
Rime of the Frost Maiden. Yeah,
okay.
Again, I preface it all by saying, did not finish it. I don't think we were terribly close to finishing it. Incredible, though. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
I like a lot of
that whole setting is so good, because it not only does it have the starter or essentials kit. I think the new one leads into it, the old one did, right? The old one, the new one is the Dragons of Stormwreck Isle or whatever it is. But I think the original one led into either Icewind Dale or Storm King's Thunder, I think. And both of those settings play off of the spine of the world pretty heavily. I haven't played Icewind Dale, but I did play through all of Storm King's Thunder as a player. It was pretty interesting. Yeah, I love that. I love that setting. I love everything snow, probably because we don't get snow where we live too often, and I enjoy snowboarding and stuff like that. So I have to travel to go to get my snow. So I would love to go to Icewind Dale and maybe just live there for the rest of my life. Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like the setting, and this is gonna just say something about me probably, but the setting makes me think of like that northernmost area in Skyrim. If you've ever played Skyrim, that's like the way I picture it, just that like cold, and I'm like I love a good like native creature situation. I think that's so cool. I'm like, Charlie, I'm super fascinated by this world, just hearing you describe it. I've never played in it. I definitely have the source books for some of those things y'all are talking about, but I have not read them. Me personally, Nicole, would have seasonal depression if I lived in the Icewind Dale, but it sounds awesome as far as going on a little adventure there. I'm into it. Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
so much
absolutely.
for that. That was fantastic. Charlie, you got any last thoughts?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So Icewind Dale, like that, I've not run a module in that, but I have as I've mentioned before, a homebrew campaign setting that hopefully, fingers crossed, getting published next year, and the idea is, Earth 500 years in the future. So with that, I do have a piece of Northern Europe that over the course of that arcane apocalypse, Thrym, the god of the frost giants, came down and wanted to create a not only just a haven, right, a new world for his people, away from the 9 realms, with the Norse pantheon, but wanted to take over the material plane. And I have a whole, history section that I ran like this mini campaign through that, talks about how he got defeated and all this stuff. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. But I run it kind of, some of these aspects, right? That you have some flavored monsters that have adapted to the environment that are separate from other, regions. It is an area where, in order just for your average adventurer to travel, they're not going to make it far without any item or ability that gives them resistance to cold. And I love the idea of like having, using different means of which to travel. Otherwise, you're going to be moving at, half speed or less, right? So that is definitely another aspect of it too. And I love when you create mechanics that flavor an area in a way that's not, just like counting rations, but rather, well, how are you going to endure this? How do you stave off, insanity from not seeing the sun or just having sun day after day after day? Mm-hmm. How do you actually find solace, and if your character has never been in an environment like this, what does foraging look like? How do you pass the time in a place where there are blankets of snow and it seems endless? How do you know that you're actually moving along? So I love environments like that. I think those are tons of fun, and I love sometimes the idea of like, just flavor it, go with it, create a magical reason why there is a thing. Mine does have a mechanical reason, a reason of why the region is perpetually, frozen under this magical influence. But I don't want to spoil that because I do have 2 campaigns that are vested in that area right now. So, in case my players are listening.
For all of Charlie's players that are going to be listening into this and sharing it with all of their friends too, and then their friends are going to share it too. You guys are just going to have to take real good notes in Charlie's campaign then, won't you? You said something that is going to lead us...
respect the note takers.
Yeah, the note takers. Note takers take notes. That leads us into a perfect transition into our core topic of what we're going to actually be talking about. You mentioned, what do you do in between traveling from X to X, Y, and Z, right? Which leads us into our first official topic of the Story Crafters, and that is, how do you guys handle downtime? In between, like when you're at the table and you guys just did your encounter, right? You guys just did you talk to the bartender, you talk to the tavern, or not the tavern, but the weaponsmith. You guys are loaded out, you're crafted with your shields and your armor and everything, and you guys are ready to go walk for a few hours. What do you do? How do you do it? I'll open it up here. How do you guys handle downtime?
Funnily enough, it's like whether I actually DM it well or not is TBD. But downtime is like one of my favorite things conceptually in D&D, because I think we all, like, you strive so hard to make the world that your players are adventuring in feel alive and exist outside of them. And sometimes that's hard to do when you're just jumping from one adventure, one big monster fight to another big monster fight, you know? And, you know, like, I have a calendar in World where I just loosely track, like, how much time has passed. And, you know, I'm, I think, close to 30 sessions into my long-term campaign that we're playing. And, you know, it's been a few months in World, and a lot of that has even included downtime. It's like, man, a lot has transpired in a very short amount of time here. So I love downtime from just the side of time has to pass here, you know? So I think it's great. It's a great way to, like, zoom out a little bit and get to do the smaller, tedious things. Like, I have a player who is, their character is learning poisoning. So they're, you know, slowly working through all that, and it takes time. And if we never have downtime, it's going to be 10 years in real life before their character ever learns how to properly use poison, you know? Whereas if we can find some natural downtime, their character in 10, 15 sessions, maybe, if not less, or, you know, more, that they, as a human individual, are still interested in having the skill for their character, you know? So I think it's necessary in a lot of ways just to continue stories.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you guys think, Nicole or Charlie? What do you guys think?
I love this. I feel like this is usually a time where I like to sit back a little bit more as the game master and ask my players, like, what they want to do. Like, you know, if we're walking down the path, I can kind of describe the path and the area, but I'm like, what do you want to talk about? Or, like, what do you want to do? Or what do you want to be practicing while you're, like, on this little journey to the next thing? And like I've mentioned before, I mostly play with kids, or a mix of kids and adults at the table. So sometimes that can bring up some really interesting stuff. I'm thinking of a story. This one wasn't traveling downtime. It was long rest downtime. And my characters had just won a really big fight, and they were excited. And it was like, okay, time to go back to your bed and take a little rest and heal up. And we just kind of took a pause there, and I asked them, like, oh, what do you see in your room? Or, like, what do you want to check out in this place where you just took a rest? And my daughter, who is now 5, but I think at the time she was 3 or 4, it was a while back, she was like, I'm gonna look under my bed. Okay, cool. So you look under your bed. What do you see under there? And it ended up being this whole fun little, like, inconsequential encounter that she had with some dust bunnies under her bed. And, like, little animated dust bunny friends. So, like, I don't know, it just can turn into this fun thing that, like, doesn't matter, but really plays into just, like, the character building and the world building of the game to do these mundane activities during the downtime. I love it.
And I think that for me as a DM, there's no better moment than when you get to sit back, like you were talking about, and, like, 2 of your players are just interacting with each other in character. It's a beautiful moment. And I do think, like, it helps them and you understand who their characters are. Like I had a player who they were out of town and they were going to have some downtime. He's like, well, we've been at sea for a month. He's like, I'd like to go get a haircut, and it's just like, that's obviously not something as a DM I have prepped. I don't know, in my notes, I don't have the name of the barber, but something like that to me is so beautiful of like, yeah, your guy would probably be in desperate need of that if you hadn't done it at all,
Yeah.
And I think it's small moments like that aren't really impactful. They may never look back on and remember, they're not fighting an ancient red dragon. So, 10 years from now, they might not point back to it. But to me, those are the most beautiful moments in D&D, when you get those small things, small glimpses of who the person is, who their character is. I love it.
Yeah. Something I like to do with my players, and it always, it varies from table to table, because some groups or individuals, are totally fine with more of that role play aspect versus others. But something I like to do is, because it is collaborative storytelling, and I like to just give opportunities and pitch moments for players to reflect and have those kind of, moments, even if it's not extended, right? Or necessarily your classic, like downtime, like you said, traveling between things, being on the ocean. Something I like to do is if a player, this really epic moment, they stand up and they want to, hey, I'm going to go ask, the barkeep a number of questions about this town and investigate this mystery and kind of interrogate for some questions. I'll be like, okay, and we'll roll through that, and then I'll look at one of the other players, maybe players at the table, and their characters are also just sitting at a table watching this go down. And I say, well, what do you guys talk about or comment on? What do you guys see from there? Is this your focus of trying to understand what's going on from a distance, or are you guys talking about something else? Is this an opportunity, or perhaps I take notes of like, okay, when have my players' characters been alone with each other? Hey, maybe this is the first time, you and so have had a quiet time together, so while they're over at the barkeep, we'll say that takes about 10 minutes. What do you guys do to fill that time? If anything, is it just awkward silence? And it can be, right? It doesn't have to be anything, but we've all had those kind of encounters, and sometimes some really great interactions occur from those forced encounters, or suggested, or it's just simply like, oh, well, we just let the time go and we just sip our mugs. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Another thing I like to do is with my players too is before long rests, I'll ask them, as you guys, even if they go into different rooms or if they're in the wild, and they're kind of all together in a collective space, I still ask them, like, is there anything that anyone's character wants to do individually or privately? Do you take a moment to, kind of whisper a prayer to your God into your pillow, or, do you pull something out of your knapsack or read a letter? Is there something that you ponder about? Or do you perhaps, and oftentimes what I like about those is that's when my players will go, actually, I would like to go find so-and-so and see if I could talk to them for a moment. And then my players like create that moment because they've been given the freedom and the platform to explore what they do in that moment. And I absolutely love those kinds of just organic role play situations, and those can be so memorable and so impactful and build those bonds between the characters rather than the ones that are forged in the fires of battle. It's like, oh no, you actually were there when that time when I was reading that letter from my parent that is no longer around, and I've been holding on to it for a while, and you consoled me, and now those two players have that big bond between them, and I love those.
Beautiful thing, because I do think there's times too where an individual may want a small moment like that for their character, but doesn't feel like, hey, I can't hijack this session and specifically request this. So I think as a DM, being able to present those moments like you were just talking about, Charlie, is awesome to give, because again, like you said, it's the collaborative storytelling, and to be able to give them the platform to not feel bad or awkward or whatever, to share those moments that maybe they've been thinking about for months, or for many sessions of like, I would love for my character to be able to do this, but it's not naturally come up, so I'm just going to stay quiet about it. I think that's awesome.
The flip side, I'll be extremely enthusiastic with players who, don't necessarily want to role play those moments, and they go, my player just passes out from exhaustion. I'm like, absolutely, you know, and you know, if I may, you know, your character absolutely just totally goes out and like a light, and the rest of you have to hear this, you know, and just kind of make, you know, make playful banter fun, you know, where it's like, you know what, because you went to bed first, you got the best rest, you know, and you don't get alerted, or, you know, do something silly as like, you know, roll a d4, you get, you know, 1 temporary hit point because you slept so soundly and you slept early, you know, things like that. And just kind of, even the players that don't want to role play, I think it's always good to still encourage those moments where they're not role playing and choosing to do something very simple and just being enthusiastic about it as well.
I love that.
I do something a little different for my downtime, because my group, they're not really a big fan of the downtime part. My group is we want to keep going. It is what it is. I love you guys. But something that I talked to them last session, and of course the BBEG is scheduling, the last time we played, I brought up this concept of, hey, for downtime, how would you guys feel if, at like your campfire or whatever, they have to come up with their own part of their backstory, and so in their like campfire, like travel time or whatever, they are going to actually be the ones who kind of take a pseudo DM or GM role, and they give a little story about their character's background, or a cool, like, I have a paladin, you know, and one of mine is like, oh, cool, well, how did you get that armor, you know, or what cool thing did you do? And in some cases, we've talked about, well, we know that the guy, you know, or X, Y, and Z, you know, they win the fight. Cool. One of the things that we're talking about doing is having the player come up with a not maybe like a 2 or 3 round short combat type thing, if it's like I fought this really cool thing and it was like a staple of my character's background, and then we can kind of have a new type of encounter where it's like a flashback encounter where we all kind of play into that character's background. Now, of course, whoever's telling the story is the one that gets the, you know, this is what happens at the end. And it's just a fun way to incorporate the rest of the table into telling the background stories of the characters. But then also too, just like them sitting around and saying, hey, you know, this is where I come from, or them just talking to each other. I really enjoy the in between or like at the table conversations between the players. My players are really good at that, which is really nice. They'll just start talking and, you know, doing their thing in character. I'm like, this is awesome. I can sit back for 10 minutes and I can catch a break. So I'll let you know how that goes with my downtime, because normally before the past sessions, it was like, all right, you get to it, you know, you do your stereotypical who's taking first watch, roll a survival check. Oh no, here's a band of gnolls, you know. That's cool if that's your thing. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I was like, man, how can we make this more interesting? So yeah, and if I have like things that, of course, if you're resting in the middle of an open field, you're probably going to get attacked by something. But, you know, yeah, that's awesome. I love this, because when we rolled this on the D100 and we got downtime, I was like, oh crap, like, what are we going to talk about? And I had no idea, and this is why I love this. This is why I'm so happy with what this show is going to be. Because we just talked about downtime. Who the heck talks about downtime? Like,
no one
talks about that.
Not a lot.
It's awesome, and that's one of the things that I think this is such a cool thing. And we all just learned about downtime, how different aspects of what we can do in each other's games, in our own game, to make that a little bit more alive and more vibrant. And I think that's awesome. But now, what we're gonna do is we're going to roll on the D100 table. The episode is coming to an end here, guys. So for future episodes and for you guys watching and listening, what we're going to do at the end of every episode is we're going to roll on a D100 table. And that has different topics that will influence our next episode. So you guys as a listener get an idea of what you have to look forward to, or you say, I'll skip that episode, but I'm still going to share it though. And you can kind of get invested, and you can kind of take a little bit more into the journey with us as this show evolves. And in the comments, you can be like, oh, this is what I thought about, with that topic. Yeah. And you can contribute to the conversations. We would love to hear what you guys think about Downtime, what you guys think about how you handle table talk, how you do anything at the table, really. So who wants to go ahead and roll a D100?
I'd be happy to. I've got one.
Ooh,
right
dang.
There.
That's really a D100.
I mean, that's a D20 next to it for. All right,
love it.
Let's see what happens, shall we?
All right, I've got the table up.
That is a 79.
79. Okay, let's find where we at on this table. And can't find it quick, so we're going to do Control F. And that is going to be, pacing and momentum in combat. Oh, that is a good one.
All right.
I know that varies from table to table, but there's definitely some core mechanics that people follow. But yeah, I'd love to hear how you guys all do pacing and momentum in combat. 100%.
Love that. That's very exciting.
That is going to be an interesting topic, because that's very different per individual, per table, per game too. Like that is all very different. I'm currently we took like a chop in the middle of a massive, or not massive, but super intense chase. So pacing and momentum is completely different depending on what type of combat you're in. I'm in a chase one right now with some arcane propelled boats, basically. And I took, it's not D&D, I'm not gonna lie, I took a Warhammer mechanic and I basically just converted Warhammer to D&D. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how next episode is gonna go. And with that, guys, we're gonna leave a little bit of wanting a little bit more each time, and we're going to end the episode here. So from all of us here, we're the Story Crafters. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.